Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. Today we are going to be painting a teddy bear with acrylic paints, so let's get started. I'm going to start with a size 0 round brush, and don't forget to grab the sketch in the description below. I'm going to take some of this burnt umber and put that around the eyes, around that outside edge. And then in the center, I'm going to add some black. And then let's allow that to dry. While that's drying, I'm going to take that black and put it around the nose. Then pick up some of this grayish blue and then put that in the center of the nose. Then allow that to blend together along the edges. I'm going to pick up some more black and bring a little bit more black into that around the edges. And now I'm going to paint this section of the face here. And for that, I'm going to mix some of this burnt umber with some of the beige. And then put that around the nose. And then along the bottom, let's add some of this bluish gray color for a shadow. And then I'm going to pick up the beige and then add that in. And I'm actually going to switch brushes. Let's switch to a size 1 dome brush. And then with that beige, I'm going to continue to bring it along this nose. And I'm going to be really careful when I go around the edge of that nose. And then I want to add a highlight, so we'll pick up some white paint and then put a little bit of a highlight along the bridge. And then along the sides. And now I'm going to go around the facial features with some of this terracotta color. Let's go around the eyes. Go around this left eye. And then bring this section up here. And we can go around the nose. And then pick up some of the brown mixed with the beige. And then bring that in to create almost like an eyebrow. And then you can blend that in. Okay, so I'm going to switch brushes. Let's switch to a size 3 flat brush. And I'm going to take some of this dark brown and start bringing that around the outside of the face. And then let's bring it along the top of the head area. And then we'll take some of the orangish brown and bring that down. And then I'm going to pick up the beige and start feathering that beige into this section as well. And I'm being pretty loose with these brush strokes. I want to create some fur texture and hair. So I'm being pretty loose. We want a shadow down here underneath the chin. Okay, I'm gonna go back with that 0 round brush and some of the dark brown paint and see if I can go around the eyes. Just clean those up and make them a little bit bigger. And then while that's still wet, let's take some beige and maybe put a little bit of beige underneath the eye. You could also put some on the top. And then take some of this blue, gray, and then put that in there to create a highlight for the eye. Okay, I'm gonna take that one dome brush and start putting in some beige in the inner ear. And then I'm gonna take the dark brown and go around that edge. And then we can get a little bit lighter as we go up. You might take some white paint and create an even lighter value as you go up along the tops of the ears. Okay, so we have the other one. We'll add some beige and then some white and make it really loose. And that's going to create that texture for the fur. Okay, so now let's work on the arms. So I'm going to take this dark brown color first. And then we want to get lighter. So I'm going to pick up some of that orange, burnt sienna type of color, and then some beige. And then towards the center, we can get really light, so you could add white to that. Okay, and you can have nice textured brush strokes. If you wanted to add a bit of a shadow, you can use this bluish gray and put a bit of a shadow in there. Okay, let's do this left side. So we'll do that same type of pattern. We have that dark brown and then the orangey brown, and then pick up that beige and then add in the white. Okay, and if I want to put some shadow, I can grab this bluish gray, just put a few little specks of that in. Okay, so let's look at the feet. I'm going to add some light beige color. And I can add a little bit of this bluish gray down along the bottom to create a shadow. Just to give a nice three-dimensional look. And then in the center, I can take the white and put that white in there, blend it nicely. Okay, and then around that, I'm going to take the dark brown and bring that around the paw area. It's going to be a nice outline. We'll do that to this left side as well. And then we're going to think about where the shadow is. So we'll put it around this section, along the bottom, and then grab that orange color and then some beige. Okay, if you need more shadow, you can go back and add some more brown. And let's look at this left side. So I'm going to go around the bottom of the foot, our dark shadow is. And then take some of that orangey brown and then some beige. Okay, and you can allow that to blend together nicely. Might want to go back and add more shadow. Okay, so now let's work on the belly of the bear. So I'm gonna take some of this dark brown and start putting that in. I'm gonna carefully go around that bow tie. And I'm thinking about where these shadows are. I'm gonna go along this bottom. And then we're going to come this way, try to create a three-dimensional shape here with our values, starting with dark and then getting lighter. Then in the center, it's going to be really light, so we'll use that beige. Okay, feather the beige in there. And then put some little bits of white for a highlight, and then you can just wisp that in. And now I'm going to take some of this grayish blue. I'm going to add some of that along these shadows in the bottom and then up here. And then I'm also going to put some along the top of the head. I'm going to use some of the brown. And we have, looks like the paint is streaking a little bit. So I'm going to go back and add another layer of paint. Kind of stepping back and just noticing where I want things to be a little bit more blended, a little more cohesive. Just have less streaking. I'm going to grab some of this beige color. Let's bring some of that out along the face, and we might even want a bit of a highlight where the cheeks are. So let's see if we can do that with some light beige color. Just put that in. Could even go in with some white along where the cheeks are, just to create a bit of a highlight. Okay, and I might bring in, let's mix a mid-tone. So I'll mix some of the burnt umber with that beige. And then I think we need to make these ears a little bit darker. Maybe bring that together with some blending. So now let's work on the bow tie. I'm going to grab the 0 round brush. Let's take some of this dark brown and mix it with the cadmium red. See if we can get a dark value. And then I'm going to start putting in the shadow areas. Okay, I'm coming around the edges. Might have a shadow underneath this section and underneath this section. And then I'm going to take some of this coral pink, pop in the really bright values, almost like the highlights. Just thinking about where the bow is really showing up with bright color. And now I'm going to switch back to the 1 dome brush. And then I'm going to take some cadmium red and start putting that red in the other places where the white is. I can go on top of the shadows. This brush is helping me get a nice smooth effect. And this paint is actually a heavy body paint, so it's a little bit thicker. So I could always water it down. Okay, so we have a nice coat of red in there. And then you could take some white and put a bit of a highlight. Okay, so now I'm stepping back and I'm noticing any places that we need to fix or clean up. I see that I need to connect the head a little bit better here. And come along this edge so that we're flush with the sketch. Okay, so go back and clean up your edges. Try to clean up the whites of the paper as well, so that everything is smooth and cohesive. And if you need to emphasize your dark shadows, you might want to go back and put another layer of those dark shadows so that you have more contrast. Okay, I'm going to take some beige and I'm going to clean up this area right here. And be mindful of my brush strokes. I'm going to grab my zero liner brush with some black paint. And I want to clean up the bottom of this eye, just a small amount with the black. Okay, and that is it. I think we will call this painting demonstration complete. So that is how you can paint a teddy bear with acrylic paints. I hope you give this a try. Like and subscribe for more painting tutorials. And if you want to dive deeper into painting with me, grab my free guide in the description below. I have an entire painting program as well linked in the description. So check that out and I will see you in the next video. Bye.